1st, 2018. Councilmember Giglio, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Giglio?
Here.
Vice Mayor Solario Luna?
Present.
Mayor Velasquez?
Here.
Councilmember Clower?
Here.
City Manager Avera?
Present.
City Attorney Epperson?
Present.
Chief of Police Westrick?
Here. Thank you.
The agenda for the City of Hollister City Council meeting of October 1st, 2018 was posted on the bulletin board on September 26th, 2018 at 4 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you. City Attorney, do you want to report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council discussed in closed session those items agendized for closed session discussion. That would be items 1 through 4. Closed session discussion pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957B1, various employment positions. Item number 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9B. And item number 6, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The 4 members of the City Council who are present now participated in that closed session discussion, except for item number 6, from which Council members Clower and Giglio recused themselves. They did not participate in the conversation due to an actual, a perceived, or a potential conflict. And the City Council adjourned from closed session at 6:29 p.m.
Thank you very much. Tonight we have a few proclamations and recognitions. The first item is recognition of FBI special agents. Chief.
Good evening, members of the council and mayor. In August of 2014, this city lost one of its members of our community, Ariana Zendeja. She was 18 years old. And we had a pretty tough time that night because she was a member of the community that was beloved by a lot of her friends. And it was a senseless tragedy that led to her death. That night, many of the police officers that were out there worked many long hours. And this case, because it was 2014, was a case that sort of we kept at the very top of the stack because it was such a case that we wanted to solve. That day and many days afterwards, we worked tirelessly on this. We used many resources throughout the state and called upon our federal partners to assist us. And one of those partners, and probably ended up being the most important partner, was that of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Tonight I'm going to turn the mic over to Detective Bo Leland, who would like to recognize 2 very important members of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and I'll leave it up to him to explain what's going on.
All right, Chief Westrick, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I first want to say thank you for the opportunity to rise and speak to you today in recognition of 2 very fine professionals who assisted us and had a significant impact on this case. For those who don't know me, my name is Bo Leland. I'm an officer with the police department, and I'm currently assigned as a general crimes detective. I'm here tonight specifically to recognize FBI Special Agents Rami Nimri and Michael Dreyer. Rami, you want to come down here? Rami was able to join us in person tonight. Special Agent Dreyer was unable to make it due to a current assignment that forced him to be at an undisclosed location. My understanding is that he might be watching this event live on TV, and if he is, Michael, we welcome you as well. On August 1st, 2014, the life of Ariana Zendejas was taken away in an act of senseless violence, allegedly at the hands of Jose Barajas. She was a passenger of a vehicle that Barajas shot into. And from that day, the case led to an international investigation with geopolitical and international intrigue. The apprehension portion of that case ended last July when Jose Barajas was transferred to our custody by Mexican federal officials at the San Jose airport. The challenges inherent in finding a person in a foreign country who did not want to be found is akin to finding a needle in a stack of needles. Having that person arrested in that country, where he is not wanted for any criminal behavior in that country, by a group of law enforcement individuals who don't know anything about Hollister or the case involving Ariana, is yet another layer of challenge. The apprehension of Jose Barajas in Mexico started as an anonymous tip regarding his whereabouts. From that moment on, the case was largely driven by the dedication of Special Agent Nimri, who was the agent originally assigned the case for Barajas' apprehension. Rami and I spoke regularly. He always had something that he needed me to do, whether it be criminal intelligence, information packets, search warrants for data or phone data, and the like. But for 18 months, Rami brought all the resources of the FBI to bear on this case. Intelligence analysis, data analysis, and extraction, and everything in between. In fact, he was so relentless in his application for a federal warrant for Barajas that he was nearly pulled from the case. That's how relentless he was. Rami was the one organizing the FBI response to this case in the United States. He was the liaison with the assistant U.S. attorney and organized the funding for the investigation and extradition, and literally was the breathing force of this case at the federal level. On the ground in Mexico, we had Special Agent Dreyer, who couldn't make it tonight. Through his years of service in Guadalajara, he had built meaningful relationships with Mexican officials who were poised and willing to help us. Mike organized multiple surveillance missions that sometimes lasted a week and at times were frustratingly fruitless. He developed human intelligence that was able to ascertain Barajas' precise location, but the arrest could not be organized in time and Barajas would move. We got this close, no less than 6 times over that 18 months. But Mike never gave up, providing a constant update and continuing to foster relationships with those who we needed help from in Mexico. As a testament to his relationship with those foreign entities, on the day that Barajas was finally arrested, the Mexican government arrest team was actually already ordered to another assignment. They chose to squeeze in one more attempt to arrest Barajas before their departure, and it was that attempt that ultimately led to his arrest and return to the U.S. Barajas was captured after Mexican federal agents spotted him in the process of moving from one location to another hideout. So that was happening the next day. They followed him until resources arrived and arrested him after a short struggle. I also want to recognize Officer Chris Wells and Officer Stacey Escada, as well as Detective John Martinez, who is currently my partner in detectives, and Detective Sergeant Rosie Batano, my supervisor, who also worked tirelessly with me towards the end goal of capturing Barajas. Their hard work cannot be understated either. This was truly a team effort. Tonight, I am honored to present these plaques of recognition to Special Agents Nimri and Special Agent Dreyer. Each of the plaques were custom made and bear both a Hollister Police patch and a challenge coin for the year 2018. I do want to point out that these plaques and mounts were the result of employees in the department who pitched in to pay for these out of our own pocket as a token of our gratitude. So Special Agent Nimri, if you could accept these, please, on behalf of you and your partner.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Hollister City Council, Chief Westrick, Detective Leland. I am honored and humbled for this special recognition. Special Agent Michael Dreyer was not able to make it tonight, but I am appearing for the both of us. The capture of Jose Barajas was made possible only by the tireless work of many people, especially our local law enforcement partners and elected officials in Hollister. Inscribed on the wall at FBI headquarters are the words spoken by our late director, J. Edgar Hoover, who said the most effective weapon against crime is cooperation. The efforts of all law enforcement agencies with the support and understanding of the American people. Jose Barajas' arrest was made possible because of our close working relationship and cooperation with the Hollister Police Department. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize individuals and agencies who also deserve a lot of recognition on this case. I would first like to thank Detective Bo Leland of the Hollister Police Department. Detective Leland was instrumental in the capture of Jose Barajas. Detective Leland gathered and forwarded vital intelligence to the FBI, which directly resulted in the capture of Jose Barajas. I would also like to thank the Hollister Police Department's Chief of Police, David Westrick, who, with Detective Leland, never forgot about the victim or the victim's family. Chief Westrick provided his full support and resources to this investigation. I also thank the Hollister City Council and the mayor for providing reward money that helped tremendously in the capture of Jose Barajas by enticing people to come forward. I thank the government of Mexico for providing the resources, intelligence, law enforcement officials at all levels, and immigration officials who quickly deported Jose Barajas. Barajas was deported from Mexico back to the United States within hours of his arrest. I would like to thank our FBI special agents in Mexico. During the takedown, 3 FBI assistant legal attaches were dispatched from Mexico City to Guadalajara. They met up with 2 additional FBI assistant legal attaches and facilitated the arrest and deportation of Jose Barajas. During this investigation, the FBI provided its full support to the capture of this very dangerous fugitive. I would like to thank specifically FBI Operations, FBI International Violent Crimes Unit, FBI Office of International Affairs, FBI San Francisco, and FBI Headquarters Executive Management, who provided their full support and authorized all the resources we requested. Executive Management also briefed the United States Attorney General and Acting Drug Enforcement Agency Director, who were very pleased with the results. I want to send a message to those who live a life of crime and violence. If you commit a crime, we will come after you and capture you. You will continue to look over your shoulders, wondering if we are behind you. You cannot hide simply by crossing a border. We will not stop looking for you, no matter how long it takes. The long arm of the law is stronger than you, is more patient than you, and is relentless. The FBI will continue to work closely with the Hollister Police Department and the City of Hollister to bring violent predators to justice. Victims will not be forgotten no matter how long ago the crimes occurred. Finally, I want to thank those who come forward from the public to provide valuable information to law enforcement. It takes a strong person and a true hero to come forward. Your information not only brings justice to the families, but also reduces crime in your community. On behalf of Special Agent Michael Dreher and myself, we thank you very much for this recognition.
I gotta say, this is standing ovation time. It really is. No kidding. You guys, this is it. And we just don't give those out, by the way. That's.
Thank you. That's pretty amazing.
Wow. Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. Incredible. All of you that, the story when we had that special meeting to offer the $25,000 reward, and the police department was all over this case from day one. And I'm just so proud of everybody. I know we all are, and they never gave up. And thank you. The next recognition is for code enforcement. Desiree Martinez. Where did you go, Desiree? There you go.
All code enforcement, come on up.
All code enforcement.
Yeah, come on up. Dave, you want to come on up too?
Yeah, stand right here. Whereas the state of California has proclaimed the second week of October as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week, and now therefore be it resolved that I, Ignacio Velasquez, Mayor of the City of Hollister, do hereby proclaim the second week of October 2018 as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week in the City of Hollister. And the City Council calls upon the community to join in the recognition of their work and express appreciation for their dedication and service by the individuals who serve as our code enforcement officers. thank you so much for all you do. I constantly call on all of the people in code enforcement when there's issues or where the residents contact me about issues, and they work so incredibly hard, and I know it's so hard for all of you, and I just want to thank you here and say we're lucky to have all of you.
City Mayor, Councilmen, Councilwomen, I just want to say thank you guys. I enjoy working for this city. As you guys all know, I work all hours of the night sometimes, and I'm not supposed to. You didn't hear that, City Manager. It has been a pleasure, and I'll continue to work very hard for this city, and thank you. Thank you for the support.
Thank you. Did you get your certificate? Thank you, guys. The next item, we're going to do firefighters next, or after this next one. The next item is a presentation from the Council of Mexico. Are they here? Oh, come on down.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I would do that.
Did you break it?
I may have. Where's Brett?
Everything was going perfect, too.
I might have some funds in my budget to fix it. Never mind then. Good evening, and folks of Hollister. What the city of Hollister allowed the Hollister Fire Department to do was participate in a bombero program, which means a firefighter program. We will pick a city in Mexico or a jurisdiction in Mexico and provide them with resources that they don't normally get. Some of the resources pertain to self-contained breathing apparatus, turnouts, which are bunker gears, tools, and in this case it was a fire apparatus and a set of turnouts, and I believe it was about 40 turnouts. And if you don't know what turnouts are, it's just the uniform that's not this one that we go firefighting in, and it takes a lot of beating. The process was an extremely arduous process, and I think it started in 2015 with the support of council and the driving force of Council Member Vice Mayor Luna, ensuring that this was going to get done. We had a lot of obstacles that came about, registration, DMV, getting it to the border. It was a gigantic undertaking, but with the collaboration of everybody's efforts, we were able to accomplish this. So what we're going to do, Mayor, if we can have you come up. First, I would like to bring up Maria. There you go. Maria Esther to say a few words on what it took just to get this done. And then, Madam Vice Mayor, I want you to go ahead and provide us with a little bit of insight on this process and how it took place. Let me get rid of this real quick. Come on.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Maria Esther Rodriguez. I'm actually city engineer in a neighboring city here in the city of Wattsville, but this evening I'm representing the state of Michoacan, Pátzcuaro, Michoacan, which is my hometown and the town where the bomberos especializados en capacitación, atención y prevención de emergencias reside, and I'll just refer to them as BCAP. As the Chief mentioned, they began with an encounter with one of your Hollister residents asking about what you do with your old equipment, because this group of volunteer firefighters in Mexico, they had no fire engine. They had a couple ambulances they had acquired over the years, and I've been helping them with basically as a translator on this side. But since 2015, working with Division Chief Leo Alvarez, Chief Bob Martin Del Campo, and then ultimately with Division Chief Rodney Dover, We made it all happen. The apparatus was delivered into Mexico earlier this year, in April, I want to say. And it is serving the community in Michoacan area of Pátzcuaro. It serves over 100,000 individuals, and without it, or with it, it's providing so much support and emergency support that they did not have. So it is with a lot of gratitude that I'm here before you on their behalf. So thank you to the City of Hollister and to the firefighters here in Hollister. Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor, if you may.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. First and foremost, it was back in 2015 when then Captain Leo Alvarez called upon me, and we went to a consulado's office in San Jose. We sat there with former Consul Carlos Ponce Martinez, who actually really pushed for us and said he would continue to help us, in getting that fire engine from the city of Hollister to a designated area at that time. And I'm glad it's Michoacan, because my father was born in Michoacan. So I'm glad it's there. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Señor Cónsul, muchísimas gracias por el reconocimiento, por esta donación que hicimos de equipo para los bomberos en Michoacán. Era de todo corazón, que venía de nuestra ciudad y de los residentes de esta comunidad. So, nomás les quería decir muchísimas gracias por recibir el equipo de nuestra ciudad, y un día, con el favor de Dios, allá nos miramos en Michoacán. Thank you, everyone.
It goes back to the simple ask. I remember that conversation when someone had approached us and asked the question of, what do we do with old equipment? Good question. We looked into it, and there was some fire truck and, as they mentioned, some gear. And the question at the time was, should it really be donated or just sent for salvage and scrap the parts? Although the equipment at the time were not meeting the standards for us here, some of the requirements by law, they're still very valuable for other people. And I'm very pleased, City of Hollister, to present to you tonight these recognitions. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Buenas noches a todos ustedes. Mayor, thank you very much. My name is Juan Manuel Calderón. I am Consul General of Mexico in San Jose. I have 11 months in this area in San Jose. For me, it's a pleasure to be here. Good evening. It's an honor to have been invited to this council meeting in this beautiful city of Hollister. Thank you, Mayor Ignacio Velázquez, and the council member, especially Ms. Luna. Thank you very much for this invitation. In this occasion, I want to express our gratitude to the Hollister Fire Department and the City of Hollister for the donation of firefighters equipment, and will be benefit our communities, especially in Michoacán and also, I understand, in Jalisco. The most respected authorities in charge of improving and well-being of the people in Hollister, organization and public joining us today, I want to express the wish of the Consulate of Mexico to keep building a positive future together based on the solidarity, friendship, and communication. We look forward to collaborating with you in this project, and personally, I hope that we can build a strong friendship that allows us to keep nourish the mutual ground of our communities. Es un placer. Esperamos tener en el futuro una buena relación. Estaremos aquí en la ciudad de Hollister. We're going to be in Hollister with a mobile consulate I believe, in December. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. And I would like to make a special recognition to the city of Hollister for this donation, and also the fire department of City of Hollister. Mayor, please. And then, thank you very much for your attention, and buenas noches.
Okay, we're going to move forward to the firefighter awards presentation.
Make sure I don't break it.
Don't break it again.
This next presentation belongs to the engine companies that you see traveling to Code 3 calls. Not very often do firefighters get the opportunity to deliver a baby, make a life save, or do some really intricate rescue. And when they do, and the opportunity or the incident presents itself, you've got to remember the time of day that they woke up, whether it was 2 or 3 in the morning, the amount of information they have on the incident, and the response time that they have. They've got to be really on their toes. They've got to provide that level of training to kick in, and they've got to perform for these duties to be successful. So at this time, I'd like to call up Battalion Chief Dover, who was the captain at the time. If I can have you guys stand here, please. Firefighter Mendoza, if he's in the audience. Firefighter Courtney Young, and Firefighter Dariano. Just you? All right. So it's okay. I got the rest of them coming up soon. This is to certify that the life-saving medal has been awarded to Captains Dover, Mendoza, Firefighter Young, and Firefighter Dariano for exceptional life-saving performance. January 15th, 2017, the service performed was Engine Company 11 responded to a 74-year-old female who was not conscious and not breathing. Engine 11 crew quickly assessed the patient and performed CPR. After several rounds of CPR, the patient had spontaneous circulation, and the patient was transported to and admitted to and underwent surgery and walked out of the hospital 13 days later. The actions, along with medics, resulted in a life save. Actions taken reflect great credit upon himself and the City of Hollister Fire Department. Congratulations. Don't go nowhere. May I have Captain Aguirre, Firefighter Holguin, and Firefighter Neeson up front. As he's making his way up here, I'm going to go ahead and read the citation. This is to certify the life-saving medal has been awarded to Captain Aguirre, Firefighter Holguin, and Firefighter Nielsen for exceptional performance. Life-saving performance, January 21st, 2017. Service performed. Engine 11 responded to a 62-year-old male with agonal breathing. For those of you who don't understand agonal breathing, it's a very shallow breathing, very not very supportive without the aid of resuscitation. Engine 11 quickly assessed and discovered the patient to be pulseless and apneic. Emergency crews performed immediate life-saving actions that resulted in spontaneous circulation and sustained breathing. The patient was transported to definitive care and was released several days later. Actions taken reflect great credit upon themselves and the Hollister City Fire Department. Congratulations. Congratulations. May I have Battalion Chief Dover, Captain Betancourt, Captain Parinello, Engineer Bezzetta, Firefighter Holguin, and Firefighter Castro up front, please. As they're making their way up, I'm going to read the citation. This is to certify that the Distinguished Service Medal has been awarded to Battalion Chief Dover, Captain Betancourt, Captain Parinello, Engineer Bezzetta, and Firefighter Holguin, Firefighter Castro for distinguished service. September 19th, 2017. Service performed. Engine 14, Rescue 61, and Battalion Chief 9203 responded to a motor vehicle accident on Highway 156. A vehicle into a trailer with the driver trapped in the vehicle under the trailer. Engine 14 operator made access to the trapped driver who was not conscious with agonal breathing. There's that word again. Access to the vehicle, limited space made extrication extremely difficult. Rescue companies used extrication equipment to cut away the car from the patient. Your actions and performance resulted in 14-minute extrication. Actions taken reflect great credit upon themselves and the City of Hollister Fire Department. Congratulations. Thank you, gents. Thank you for your time and allowing me to present this to the troops.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to have a swearing in for Code Enforcement Supervisor or Officer. Wait, which one are we swearing in? Both of them. Okay, Desiree Martinez and Anna Patterson.
Hi, my name is Charlie Bedolla. I'm the fire marshal for the City of Hollister Fire Department, and I oversee code enforcement. Desiree here started about 7 years here with the department, actually with the city. She started out 2 years as a temporary employee, got successfully hired on and worked her way up through the ranks. An opportunity came up for a code enforcement supervisor position. She applied and became successful through the rigorous testing process where it was now validated. So congratulations, Desiree, on becoming the code enforcement supervisor here for the Hollister Fire Department. Anna is going on 17 years here with the City of Hollister. Anna started out as a volunteer with the animal shelter, worked her way through up the ranks. We were fortunate to have Anna transfer over from animal control. From there, she brought all of her KSAs over to the department and is utilizing those knowledge, skills, and abilities every day, bringing expertise here. So Anna just recently completed she had to attend she's a certified code enforcement officer, which Desiree is also. Anna completed 3 one-week courses throughout the state and was successful in getting her certification. So that's a lot of work to do on your probationary time, managing work and the family. So congratulations, Anna, on that. And I just framed her code enforcement certificate. So this is a long time. They're well deserved, and they work very, very hard for your community. So come on up.
Do
Thank you very much. We're going to move to our consent agenda. Are there any items council would like to pull?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item 5.
Item A5. Any others? Okay, do we have any from the public?
We do items A4 through A10.
A4 through A10. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve minus the items pulled.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll go to item A4.
Zavan Casada.
I took notes. Take notes this time so I wouldn't get off track and get all excited and stick to what I want to talk about real quick, which is on the agenda. I just was wondering real quick. My name is Zavon, and I'm a full-blown artist from San Bernardino County, Hollister, California. And I love to come to this time of the time we have because to see so many brilliant people and go-getters here and so many just intelligence just running through here of innovations just makes me get excited. But I don't want to go that too far because I want to talk about something like the license review. Just real quick, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, were you able to have a conversation with the business people like last time, the uncensored one? And if so, how did that go? Just real quick, because instead of having a review with this woman, why are we not talking to her about innovation of what she can do with her business to help it grow? Or talk about other businesses in Hollister since we have a dark, half-empty downtown? I'm just wondering, Mayor, because, I don't mean be disrespectful and to the council that sits Honorable Mayor and the council that sits next to him. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. I'm just wondering, why are we talking about this? Honestly, why? Why are we discussing this? There are so many things, like families sleeping in their car, or people getting out of detention facilities and going right back because they have nothing to work for or nothing to go for. I'm just wondering, why aren't we talking about that? Yet we're talking about a review of some woman. I've never been in the store, actually, but I see the outside, and she's innovative. I love her because I've seen her in here before, and she's colorful. And I just want to know, why are we even talking about it? It's a process. Okay, let's get forward. Why don't we talk to her and have an interview about, hey, how's your business going? We actually think we can grow somewhere over here to like the downtown area when you're coming in from Gilroy, that empty lot that keeps getting filled up with homeless people. Man, and they make trash, but yet we spend money to clean it up every other month, I think, if the code enforcement's here. I'm pretty sure they can, or did they leave? Just wondering, because, doesn't that cost money to keep? Last time they came with a bulldozer, I'm just wondering, twice. So I know that costs money. So I'm just wondering, why are we talking to people that have brilliance and have own businesses about something to help them bloom? That's what I'm wondering. And if this is not the place to do that, we should create something that does that. Honestly, Mayor, because I always see your thing moving forward, right? Our empty downtown is so dark that the next thing we have to talk about are the signs that they need something up there to get some light for the beautiful buildings that are there already. If you don't notice that, you should take a drive down here, from here and just go to Gilroy real quick. Just real quick. Go to Gilroy and look at their lighting of the downtown area. They can be empty and it looks busy there. You could be busy here and it looks like a bunch of, because the alleys are lit up and everything else is so dark, you're like, what's going on over there? Because that's how it is. And there's businesses trying to thrive there. And we're not helping them because we're talking about her getting a permit to dig it again. Yeah, here you. Come on, Mayor, Honorable Mayor. Let's think of something moving forward and not backwards. Because I think if you don't have the town lit up a little bit more downtown, people might start looking at this city like, wow, is that really a drive-through community? Or is it a place of destinations and venues? Because I believe, and I see right now, so many brilliant go-getters here. So many people in here that just want something different. Yet we're not getting it. We want to spend $3 million on a park that shoots water out. And the mayor's talking about the fair, somebody driving the car down there and getting a lawsuit. What about someone slipping and falling and only being used seasonal? We got an empty spot right there behind Rite Aid that has a demographic that jogs up and down there seasonal. We could work with the high school and work with the other schools around there to take their gym for an outside gymnasium of a conditioned park. Imagine how many people going up and down that, because Sarah Vista doesn't have a park of community where they can get together, and they're brilliant there. The demographic there is thriving, and we have nothing to offer. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
Thank you. That's okay. I will answer your question. Your question is, why are we discussing an item here? And the item is basically the business owner requesting to be able to have a license to sell beer and wine. And part of that process is they have to have an application approved by the city so the state will approve their license. That's why this item is here. This business owner would like to have the opportunity to sell beer and wine at their establishment, and it's just part of the process. And we want to help them do their business. That's why it's here. So is there any other speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor?
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve item A4.
Second.
Right. There's a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Carries 4-0. We'll go to item A5.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I pulled item A5. And just for clarification, because I know there's been several meetings regarding sign ordinance in downtown zoning district, and just clarification for the item and just for transparency for the public.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Luna. Really, again, this is just a formality. It's just authorizing or having the policy established that the Code Enforcement Division will not be continuing doing any sign enforcement until such time that the downtown sign ordinance can be amended, or at some point in time in the future that it's determined that we won't be making any changes to that. So it's just a temporary suspension of enforcement on our downtown businesses as it relates to the sign ordinances only. So.
Okay, and that's fine. And I just pulled it because I really believe the public should be informed on this action item. But thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, and I would like to just to confirm so that we're all on the same page is that this actually is only for the downtown zoning district. It doesn't include the general commercial areas outside of the downtown, so we'll still be doing enforcement as necessary when it comes to those areas. It's just focusing on the downtown core. And as long as we're talking about it, I just want to make sure that everybody is reminded again, October 4th in this building at 7 o'clock in the morning, we'll have another open house. We're encouraging the downtown business owners to participate and give us feedback and ideas on new or possible amendments to our current sign ordinance. So just want to make sure. That's at 7 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Okay. And Bill, just for clarity, as
Sure.
you pointed out, the sign ordinance that created this issue was the use of neon signs in downtown where it's not allowed, but it is allowed in different areas, correct? And that would be suspended, so downtown owners at this point could use neon signs.
Yeah, there's and let's use neon signs as a generic term because a lot of neon signs are no longer neon; they're LED. So we want to move. There's a few things that have been discussed. There's neon signs or the look of neon signs. There's A-frame signs on the sidewalks. There's general window coverage, and then banners are another thing that we've noticed sometimes pop up all over the place. So those are the four major categories that we'll be looking at.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Zavon Casada.
My name is Vaughn, and I'm a resident here at San Bernardino County, Hollister, California. Real quick, I don't know how to have to do this, but I apologize if I wanted to talk to 10 through them. I really do, because I know some people, have things to do. And, I'm sorry. I apologize. I just want to speak about them because I really want to speak about them about something real quick. I'm just... So signage, I guess neon signs downtown, right? What about the empty buildings down there, like next to Vintage Pearl and also the Epic Winery, which are so beautiful lit up inside their place? But yet that place is so dark. I'm not, people of my community, my community of champions, please go down to the downtown area and just look how dark it is. It's dark. Hey, ask the people that are doing the farmers market when they're tearing down. Hey, they'll even tell you, man, this is dark down here. Go to Gilroy. It's so close, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Lighting is so important. City is like a business, Mayor, because I read something on Instagram that your business is thriving, though, because you're working with companies that you didn't want building here, but something about that. So I'm wondering, are you too busy to understand that our downtown, the one that you're supposed to be leading forward, Mr. Honorable Mayor, is actually... kind of like, hey, we're kind of dark over here. It's like we need some lighting. You're saying no more neon signs? Are you serious? They want to light up downtown. What do you think the baby of Hollister is? The downtown area. Where do you think everything comes together as a community? Your downtown area. Look at our downtown area right now, Mr. Mayor. All those empty spots that have been there for years empty. Where are we going to connect with the people that own them and say, hey, why don't we get something in there? We got people that are coming to city council meetings, and we're starting communities together to bring innovation, which Hollister is thriving in, but needs to branch out, because I'm telling you, Mayor, I'm just, Honorable Mayor, I want to say Honorable, that what we're doing, what you're doing actually, because you're supposed to be leading us forward, right? What you're doing is you're not seeing where you're going, first of all, and you're not thinking of anything innovative to take us on another freeway of something of a horizon you can never catch before, because I don't know, you don't seem to be able to catch it with turning our downtown dark. I say this with such respect. Please, business owners here, understand what I'm saying. You have to hear me on this. The downtown is very, very, very dark. It is. You can't see nothing. How are you supposed to attract the demographic that are going to buy the houses that we're building, like tract homes? Boom, 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 boom. Taking every nice little destination we have. I'll take that one. I'll take that one. And what are we doing? We're not even bringing no innovation here. Why? Because how do I know? Lakeview has a big old hole over there, and their houses are amazing, and their community is awesome. I went to a garage sale there. I go, wow, that beautiful home has a big old pit there. The guy said, yeah, it's been there 30 years. What are we doing? Honestly, why aren't we doing something for communities like districts or something? The Serra Vista district is thriving. I rode my bike down there, and I see young go-getters walking their beautiful dogs, families in every other house talking about innovation. Huh?
Thank
Wondering.
So let me answer your question again. This actually was brought up because I didn't believe it was right to restrict neon signs in our downtown, because I also believe there should be a lot of light in downtown, and I've been pushing for a lot of light in downtown. And hang on to no, and I've been pushing against building more homes. Mr. Casada, I'm just trying to answer your questions, just so we're all clear on this. I'm neon signs, I think most of us agree, this idea that they shouldn't be here is probably not a good idea. I'm against that. I believe people should have their neon signs. I believe there should be more lighting in downtown. I believe there should be less homes being built. But please, stay with the issues, and we appreciate you being here and asking any question you want on any item on this agenda. But let's stay focused to the item we're discussing, and we can go through each one afterwards and have a long discussion whenever you want. Okay? Do we have any other speaker cards?
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2018-229.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We'll go to item A6. Do we have any speaker cards?
We do. For Resolution 2018-230, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the temporary street closure of Seth Berenson Street for the annual Halloween block party. I have one speaker, Savon Casada.
Yes, I'm speaking again. Hello, everybody in my community of champions, my community of drivers. My name is Savon, and I'm an artist. Thank you. So, block party, awesome. I'm wondering, these block parties are really cool, right? Do you have them in different areas and stuff like that? Why don't we have a community block party on those big old empty spaces that we've been having for years, like the one downtown, like I'm talking about? Yeah, for a big one, really? Oh, really? There's flyers online.
Hang on.
That's cool. No, wait. That's cool.
No, Mr.
I didn't know
Casada,
that.
please.
But the crosstalker behind me, I just like to know this. If there is something, why hasn't there been any signs in here?
Mr. Casada.
Where's the signs out in here? We're all here as a community. I would like a sign or a pamphlet, please. Since we're we're being real though. You want to talk and say, hey, we are doing signs. Then where are they here? Where are the youth? Thank you. But I'm sorry, honey. Enough for the community is what I'm trying. I'm not going to do this. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say one thing.
Please help.
Are we coming on the same page here? Because you're talking to me like I'm not brilliant. Like
I'm here to
Mr.
help
Mayor,
you
understand
answer
to
your
me.
questions, but
Just
please
understand me
help
real
us.
quick, Mr. Mayor. Do you think you're not talking to somebody brilliant? Honestly.
Do I think?
Do you think you're not talking to somebody brilliant?
Why would I not think you're brilliant?
Because the way you're talking to me with like, I'm sorry.
No,
Mr.
no.
Mayor, please, just
Mr.
listen to
Casada,
me. 1 second.
just-
Your block party things that we're talking about, we're talking about them. Why? The whole purpose is, why are we talking about it?
We respect.
What about
your-
look at what about the dog park? It doesn't even have a bathroom.
Mr. Casada, we
Hey, I mean, come
respect
on,
your
dude.
questions.
Like Mr. Mayor, what I'm trying to get the brilliant people in here, because everyone in here is brilliant, can understand what the big picture is. What I'm saying, we're talking about a block party when we have so many other issues in our
Address
city
the
going down.
council.
Hang on.
I'm telling you, I address my community because that's what's right here, and I'm part of it.
Mr.
I'm telling you, Mayor. I'm just not telling you.
Thank you.
I'm asking you, please turn on your lights to make sure you're driving forward because you're promoting that, and make sure you don't get snowed in. Thank you.
Okay. To answer your question on this item, when a neighborhood wants to have a block party, they fill out an application, they bring it in, they can have a block party. If any neighborhood wants to do that, they can do that. If any section of the city, a empty lot wants to do it, they can do it. All they have to do is fill out the application, bring it in, we approve it here, because legally we have to do that, and it goes forward. Okay? Is there any speakers, any other speakers?
There are no more speakers, Mr.
I'll make a
Mayor.
motion that we approve item number A6, 2018-230, 17th Street Halloween Block Party Street Blockage.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll go to item A7.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Item A7 is a supplemental appropriation request for $7,000 to conduct a ground penetrating radar survey of the dog park. A few weeks ago, we dug this up, which is a training bomb from World War II that was live, and it was not all that healthy. So we had to detonate it, and it's safe now. So we're just asking for the money to go ahead and look for more before we dig up any more out there.
Okay.
And the reason why we're talking about it is the item got pulled.
Okay,
I think it was public.
the public, the public pulled it. Let me ask you a question. How deep was that when you found it?
3 feet.
It was 3 feet down? So we're looking at the idea of turning the dirt that far down to put the screen down. Is that
That's correct.
why this happened?
That's correct.
Now, was it a dump? Did it actually have?
It was live.
It was live. Interesting. Any
It
other
had
questions from council?
phosphorus and gunpowder in it.
Yeah. Thank you. Other questions? All right. We have a speaker card.
For resolution number 2018-231, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister appropriating $7,000 from Fund 601, balance for a ground penetrating radar survey at the dog park. We have one speaker, Zavon Casada.
My name is Zavon, and I'm an artist from San Bernardino County, Hollister, California. And my community, understand, I'm not trying to laugh of anything like that. I love the way he comes up here and asks for money, and makes it. Good job. What about the bathroom? There's not even a bathroom at the dog park. We spent $150,000 already on some gopher holes there. I mean, we have people sleeping in cars. And there's no services for them, but sending them to a shelter where you just eat sweets, go to bed, you wake up like angry at everything because you have to leave at the butt crack of dawn. I mean, but we're talking about something like, is there a bathroom there? Real quick, is there a bathroom there? Because you couldn't take 3 kids, you got to get them up. By the time you get up and have the picnic, I got to use the bathroom. There's no bathroom there. Not even a porta potty. Because Mr. Mayor, I remember you told me, one thing at a time, Mr. Casada, one thing at a time. Get a porta potty out there, please. Get some kind of restroom, please. That's all I want to say, because, my friends go walk their dogs out there, and it's pretty sad when they can't take their kids because their kids have to use the restroom. They know that. It's sad. No bullshit. Sorry.
Okay. Is there any other?
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2018-231.
There's a
Second.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may take 2 seconds. Mr. Casada, when you address the council, can you just watch your language, the adult language? There's a lot of children present tonight. Yeah, I'm just, for the future ones, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to item A9. Did we go A9? Did I miss
A8.
A8?
Yes.
A8.
It's public again.
Do we have a comment card?
Resolution number 2018-322, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving a salary and benefits plan between the City of Hollister and Executive Management Unit. We have one speaker, Zavon Casada, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Devon. Yeah, I'm getting, I know, I'm sorry. But I'm just kidding. Come on, this is our community. My name is Devon. I'm an artist. Please, don't, come on. Look what we're talking about. I wouldn't be excited either if I had to listen to some random guy artist who goes crazy coloring everywhere and has dolls in his hand. I would be like, oh, do you want to go home too? But look what we're talking about, though. We're not talking about anything to bring us into, saying, hey, that's a cool idea. Come on. Look, honestly, when you go home at night, besides looking at the downtown, how dark it is, read the agenda and look at what's going on around you in your community, and you'll understand what I'm saying. We're talking about things that should be addressed already by when they go into that private room over there and talk for. I don't know, they want to extend it longer. So I don't know what's going on back there, but hey, why don't you throw those kind of things in there? Because when it comes to the police department or the rec center, come on, whatever they're getting, that's between you guys. We need to know about what's going on with the new rec center and not redoing a roof. We need a whole new one. We don't even have a youth center at all that kids can go to. Watsonville has one from 1 to 8 p.m. and it's cracking. We don't have nothing here like that. What, do we? I wonder, because the YMCA not only isn't on the directory, but it shares it with a bank. Really? YMCA in Hollister shares it with a bank? And the bank is on the directory, though. Bet your money it is. But not with the YMCA. This is what I'm saying. I'm just trying to voice myself so something could be heard of a difference. Change is here, and we need to do something. I don't mean to be disturbed. I just want to show that I appreciate my community and the people I see around me that are go-getters. But then you got the ones like the gentleman in the back telling me I should hurry up and not do this. Don't speak about it, bro. I'm not trying to be rude or nothing, but, come on. Really? Mr. Mayor, Honorable Mayor, look, can we get some real topics? You go to city council in San Francisco or San Cruz, you'll be like, no, what the? We have people from San Jose coming. We don't even have nothing to offer them. Like, hey, man, nothing. I bet you don't even take them to dinner, do you, after here? Or you probably will now, though. Or have you even ate with them or talked with them before the meeting or something, like had a real discussion, one-on-one, getting real, because you are a mayor. You are a leader, right? Moving forward. There's a lot of brilliant people here, Mayor, that you're going to be leading forward. And I hope that they're going to start looking at this guy like, whoa, because I don't want to bring it up, but your business is booming, though. And I've been talking about that. What about Hollister? I've been coming to these meetings for almost 2 years. We've talked about the homeless one time, and that's a problem here.
You have a question on this item?
That's a problem. You guys don't want me to speak or something. The gentleman's looking at me crazy like he's going to attack me. Now, what's going on here? Am I being disturbing? Am I?
Yes.
Really? You really feel like that? The youth feels like that too. What I'm saying is not right. Really? Speak about the item.
Stay focused.
Okay, stay focused. Okay.
He has a right to speak.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. But what I was trying to say is that I didn't come here to be like that. I came here to show what's going on with the city. I care about this place. We keep building tract homes and all these nice destinations. This is going to be a pass-through community. I won't even say anything no more. You can look at it for yourself in a dark downtown.
Okay.
Marty Richmond.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Marty Richmond from Hollister, and I think you have that gavel for a reason, or you're supposed to have that gavel for a reason. I'm a free speech guy. I've defended the right to free speech all over this town, and I write and I encourage people to talk. But you're supposed to stay on topic when you're on the agenda. That's the rule. Mr. Quesada may not know that public input is there just for the exact speeches he wants to make, and it will be coming up shortly. And he can say anything he wants that's in the purview of the council. I'm concerned as a point of order, and point of orders take precedence, as you know, if you know Robert's rules, as a point of order that we are not staying on topic, and therefore we are not accomplishing the job that you guys are there to do. So I encourage you, Mr. Mayor, when anyone, including myself, gets completely off topic, to use your authority and the gavel to put us back on topic so that the public gets their business taken care of in an orderly manner. And anybody who wants to stay on topic can stand up here and say anything they want. And if they want to talk about a general topic, we all know we have a specific point of order put aside for that. And it is coming up shortly. And everything, we can cover everything from soup to nuts to the color of the chairs. I thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate that, Mr. Richmond. And we've had this conversation many of times about this issue. At the end of the day, people have a right to speak, even if it's not staying on topic, and we do our best to try to keep them there. This individual, again, has a right, and it's difficult sometimes, and yes, it is off topic sometimes, and it's, as you can see, it's it can be a frustrating issue for all of us and takes up valuable time. So I appreciate your comments. We try to do our best. Is there a motion or any other speakers on this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move to item A10. And did we do A9?
I know you're trying to get through.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to move it through here.
You're doing a good job.
I think he might have left. I think he left.
A9.
Do you have any speakers for A9, Ms. Clerk?
Zavon Casada?
I believe he has left the house.
Then he was my 9
He
and
was your
10.
speaker. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if you'll allow me, can I make a motion that we approve 9 and 10 since he was the only speaker?
We'll do one at a time. Just to
Okay.
make sure. Let's do item A9. There you have a
So
motion,
moved,
sir?
yeah, for 9.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll move to A10. Do we have any speakers on that? Mr. Gillo, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve 10, 2018-234.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We have students here that have spent their hour here in full excitement. So come on up and get your signatures, and then we'll resume the meeting. I have a stamp so we can we're going to move to public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tammy Abilis.
I know. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Tammy Aviles. I'm with the Coalition for a New Community Library and Resource Center. I just wanted to say, we look forward to working with the city to secure a new library, and that we just look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then, different topic. I wanted to thank you all for all the paving projects that have been happening in the city. I am taking advantage of the smooth roads and the painting of the lines and everything, so thank you for that, too.
Okay, you're not speeding, right?
No.
Susan Logue.
Hi, good evening. Susan Logue, Hollister resident, Friends of the Library. I'm here to speak today in regards to our summer reading program. I think I came last time and told you what a great success we had this year. We served over 500 children at our summer reading program, and I'd like to see if maybe we could look at next summer doing two days a week. So I'd like to city think about increasing the amount of financial support the library gets, specifically for the summer reading program. Because I figure if we served 500 kids this past summer, once a week, was only Thursdays, but 6 weeks, that we could serve more children 2 days a week, and then eventually 3 days a week, and eventually I'd like to see 5 days a week for the summer reading program. But thank you for your continued support. Also, just a little thing, firefighters, thanks so much for all they do. They helped me at my house. We had a little bit of problems from wiring, and they came right in and helped us out. So it was really nice to see them today. In October is National Friends of Libraries Week. So we usually celebrate the Friends on one day, and that will be October 17th, 6 p.m. You're welcome to attend. We'd love for you to come. We'll have a potluck, and we'll have recognize our volunteers, and then we also have a contest for the children. It's an annual writing and illustrating contest, and we usually have a really good turnout with parents that night. During the day, we're going to have a new membership drive for the Friends, so we're hoping that the community would like to get more involved with the library and use the Friends as that vehicle. So we'll be doing a full day of membership drive in the library starting at 10 that day on the 17th of October.
Thank you.
And so we welcome everybody to come and be part of that.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Marty Richmond.
Good evening again, Marty Richmond from Hollister. This is the silly season, meaning it's political time. We're going to have an election. I just want to remind you those 500 children all have parents and guardians, and they all vote. So something you should think about, the 500 children who go to the summer reading program in the library. Because it is a silly season and I needed the votes, I got on Facebook. I wasn't even on it. And so in between people calling me names, a lot of people go, what do we need the government for? Well, the government's a service organization. I worked for the government for 22 years. It happened to be the military government, but it was the government. It's a service organization. You want to know what we need it for? Well, we need them to pull you out of the car wrecks. We need them to get your heart going if it stops. We need it to save your life. We need it to capture people who are alleged to have committed heinous crimes. We need it to clean up the streets. We need it to supply the clean water. We need it to take your waste away. We need it to do all those public service things that no one else does. And they do it around the clock. And we take it for granted, okay? Because we live in a first world country. We go over and we flush our toilet and we expect it to work. Many places in the world, you don't have that privilege, okay? We drink our water and we expect it to be clean, and we feel safe here. People, one thing I learned driving around my district is that people love living in Hollister. They feel safe. They walk the streets in the morning and get their exercise. They take the dog out. They let their kids play in the park relatively unattended because they like it here and they feel safe here, and all that feeling and the park and all the equipment and all the streets and all that is what's supplied by the government. And everybody who says, what do we need the government for? Well, if you took away everything the government put in, there would be nothing much left. So I appreciate the fact that there's some waste always involved, and we ought to go after it because it means we can't do good things if we waste some money. But in general, we're not ready to get rid of the government. I'm not going to get rid of the government because it provides safety for me and my family and a happy place to live. So thank you very much, and my best regards to all the employees of the city who also have been to my house when we had a fire many years ago. So I have really learned how to appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Layla Sadian.
Hi, I'm Layla. I'm 23 years old, and I'm a political science minor. I'm really new to this. I'm new to politics, and I guess the reason why I started getting involved is just because Hollister's kind of in an interesting time with all the new people coming and a lot of new businesses supposedly coming, and I've only been coming for 8 or 9 months, and I've been, there's like obviously a lot of stuff going on Facebook, and a lot of people are complaining, and there's a lot of people saying things, and they don't even show up to the meetings, so that's the reason why I started coming to meetings. And I think just in general, the reason why a lot of people are complaining about a lot of things is that they see a lot of decisions being made and they don't feel that the decisions that are being made are benefiting them. So I think that when they start seeing that the decisions that are being made are going to benefit them, then they might stop complaining a little bit. And I also think that there needs to be better communication between the city and the county. And a lot of people, I think, are just upset about the new people's attitudes toward Hollister, that a lot of people who come to Hollister, they don't really get excited about living here. They kind of just say that they only moved here because they got pushed out here, not that they wanted to live here. But not all of them, but a lot of people kind of come with a negative attitude towards Hollister, and they want to, and I think that they should be more excited about being involved in the community, not being upset that they live here, but starting to join the community. And I think that there's obviously there's always going to be people that complain about everything, and I think people's attitudes are very different than 20 years ago, because it used to be a very positive thing when people moved here, that it was fun when people moved here because people would see that houses were being built and they felt that their neighborhoods were becoming more social, and it wasn't just dirt lots, and they got excited about houses being built because they were excited to meet their new neighbors and have more friends to play with, and everybody was very welcoming. Everybody was saying, oh, welcome to Hollister, and now everybody's attitudes is like, welcome to Hollister. So, yeah, but I know that Hollister's at an interesting time, and I know that this is going to be an interesting next few months and next couple years, so I just want Hollister to change for the better and not change for the worse. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move to item D1, City Manager's Report.
I have nothing to report on that this time.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move to item F1. Who's taking care of that item?
Christine will do it when she's done pushing buttons.
Pushing buttons. She timing herself?
Yeah.
F1.
This is the ordinance that I brought before City Council last week, which is basically just cleaning up the language that is currently in the ordinance from the 2012 election, where it's written in the ordinance 2/4-year term for the mayor when it should just be 2-year term, and it's just the second reading.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Move to item F2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item this evening is sort of a continuation of some past actions that the council has taken. On June 18th of 2018, the franchise agreement to Recology was awarded. Part of that action was also to release the 218 process, or the Proposition 218 process, which will allow us to establish rates, the new rates associated with that franchise agreement. Those new rates are proposed to begin on November 1st. We have members of CSG here, Kevin and Kathleen, and also Phil Cochet is here from Recology to provide you more information, and they're available for any questions if the council has them. Or if you're ready to go, whatever you want to do. Do you have any questions?
I think it is important if you can come up and explain what's going on. I think the public is confused, especially with the third trash can. There's questions about why are rates going up and so on. I think now would be the time to explain it so people are clear that it's not something the city is doing just to punish our residents, but these are some of the mandates that have to happen in the bidding process.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Kevin McCarthy, acting staff for the County Integrated Waste Management Agency. So there's a couple drivers behind these new programs that you are going to be receiving November 1st. And you see these interesting carts that kind of demonstrate what goes in them. The big driver for the change in programs is that there was a law, AB 939, passed that every jurisdiction, city and county in the state has to comply with. It's a 50% mandate, 50% reduction in waste going to the landfill. Currently, the County Integrated Waste Management Agency that you're part of is not compliant with state law. We're not meeting the 50% requirement. And we sort of have a handshake deal with Cal Recycle, the state regulatory agency. And the handshake was essentially, we're not going to put you on what they call a compliance order so long as you implement those programs that you're telling us about, which is basically introducing the yard waste collection program, adding food waste to that cart, and then providing food waste for the businesses. So that was sort of the first motivation. And since we've started this process, there was another state law passed, AB 1383, that really was around climate change and reducing sort of climate pollutants. And so one of the big identifiers was reducing organic waste from the landfill. So we're kind of, by introducing these new programs, we're trying to come up to the current standard of the law. We're also going to be able to comply with this new law. The regulations for 1383 are under development. Specifically, that law requires that the state reduce the amount of organic waste going to the landfill by 50% by 2020 and 75% by 2025. It's not an individual mandate, but essentially what the Waste Board is doing is introducing new regulations that will start to require programs. And so the yard waste program in particular is not specifically mandated, but the three jurisdictions here are really probably the only. Phil Couchet and I were chatting about this. We don't know of any jurisdictions in any of the surrounding counties that don't have a yard waste collection program. And so when we spoke to Cal Recycle, they said that is probably the most important thing that you can do in your new programs. So that's sort of the history behind why the yard waste program is sort of a mandatory feature of the franchise services. So I can answer any other questions at this point.
Any of the council members have any questions? So just to expand on this, so we're clear, we have to do a 50% reduction.
That's correct.
We were not achieving that with the trash cans we have and the recycling can we have.
That's correct. With the notable gap in that sort of service menu being yard waste was voluntary. So in Hollister, Phil, about 45 to 50% of the 40% of the accounts had the green cart. The new programs are requiring everybody to have the cart. And so that is the single greatest thing that we can do to boost up our programs to reduce waste going to the landfill.
And that is by encouraging people, food waste to go into that.
It's to have more people recycle more yard waste. It's interesting, just driving around the city today, you already see these green carts full around the city. But people can start putting food waste in them starting November 1st. And then there is a business requirement, which we didn't have in the franchise either. And that is a specific business requirement for food scraps recycling. That is also being added to the contract with Recology starting November 1st.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions at all?
Just to be clear, AB 1383 doesn't specifically mandate single-family residential to have the organic collection, but we're doing it because we need to reduce our waste.
That's right.
Per the state of California.
Yes, and it's our belief by introducing this program, you sort of get a 2-for-1. You're gonna come up to the 50% requirement, and then the regulations as the state is developing now is going to mandate even more diversion of organics from the landfill. So again, this is the single best thing that we can do locally, is to give everybody the green cart, allow them to put food waste in it, and then also offer the food waste composting service for all the businesses.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Luna.
So I understand notices were sent out to all the residents.
That's correct.
Receiving the service.
That's correct.
Did you get any responses from them that regarding charge, the rates, or not wanting the service?
I'm going to defer
required?
I'm sorry. I'm going to defer to the city clerk. She actually received the written, they're called protest forms, and she can report on the exact number.
I received 63 protests as of today.
As of today. And how many actually were sent out? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
Something over 4,000.
Over 4,000?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's over 8,000.
Yeah, over 8,000. 4,068 was the 50 plus one number that we needed.
Okay, is that the sheet that they could cut on the bottom or something and return to the city clerk? And you received
63 as of right before this meeting. I received 2 more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a comment?
Nope.
Do we have any public comment?
I think, are we doing a public hearing? I don't think this was placed correctly. I think this needs to be a public hearing.
I don't have it placed as a public hearing.
I don't either, but
you can open up for comment.
Please.
This time we'll open it up for public hearing.
Patty Hill.
I was one of the ones that complained. I've never done this before.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you.
But I didn't do it officially on that tear-off. I directly contacted Hannah Francis. And my main concern is I love the pictures that they put out because it helped us visualize what goes into each containers, and they had it beautifully placed on the top. That's great. My main concern is with that green one, the yard waste. And I'm very concerned about fly issues and odor issues and the ooze that residually settles at the bottom of the containers if you actually keep it closed. I do my own yard work, so my yard clippings go in there, but I have to keep it open all week in order to keep it dried in layers so it doesn't smell horribly. And I only have one place to put it. It's under my kitchen window because of the way my house sits on the lot. If I put proteins and other garbage in there, and I have to keep it open because I know what it does. It turns to ooze if you put yard grass clippings in there. And then they can't get it out. The garbage men shake and shake and shake, and they can't loosen it all out. So I have to keep it open to keep it somewhat dry, and there's no problem with yard clippings. But when you put proteins and fruits and things like that, you're laying open to fly strikes. You're laying open to odors. That's the only part I hate. I don't mind having to increase the price a little to accommodate whatever they have to do in waste management. But I don't like the idea of smell and flies and ooze. And that's what I'm stuck with as a resident, with a very small, limited area to put my waste. So that's my main concern. And I was told when I called Recology over in Gilroy, oh, sprinkle a little Boraxo in it. Okay, that's an increase. And then I was told, get another container. I have no space in my kitchen. I already have a plastic bag sitting by hanging from a drawer pull to put the dry stuff for the blue. I don't have any more room inside my house to put stinky junk. I don't have any room to get another 13-gallon container for protein junk to put in a bag and then dump it at the last minute in the green waste. So my concern is flies and odor and ooze. And I don't know what to do about that, but if that's the problem, I can't comply. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Elias Salinas.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Elias Salinas. I was very vocal about Brancology not getting the contract. I came up here and I was very vocal about the fact that they have a reputation for increasing their prices after they get the contracts, and they denied it, that was not true. They knew very well that these bills were coming up, and I think that they should have let us know that this was going to happen to us. I don't use the green container. I have a gardener, and I have a garbage disposal. Single, I don't need it. I should be able to opt out, and I think people in the city should have the opportunity to opt out if they're not going to use it, especially those that have gardeners coming in there. We don't have that waste. We have very minimal. It'll probably take me more than a year to fill it up. So I would request that before you approve this, to please consider that the citizens have an option to opt out of having the green container. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. This time we'll close public hearing. We can answer us a few more questions. You don't mind coming back up. Either one of you. Either one that can answer the questions. The Ms. Hill pointed something out that I'm experiencing at my house now is, how are we putting food waste into this can? My wife does not want to use a plastic bag. She feels that's wrong, and I agree. So now we're trying to find a way to store food waste in the house, which is creating a problem. And I'm sure many people are experiencing this problem. What is the recommendation? Because you can't just throw food into the trash can without it being in a bag, because it's going to do exactly what she mentioned.
And again, my name is Phil Couchet. I'm general manager of Recology San Benito County. There's a couple different ways. One, you can use a paper sack. Paper sacks works fine. You wouldn't want to leave it sitting on your counter for too long. But if you bring out your paper sack and put it in that container every day or other day, it works fine. And you can also use compostable plastic bags. Okay, there's a bag that's being manufactured, and more of the local Ace Hardwares and hardware stores are starting to carry them, and it's called BPI certified. They look like plastic bags, but they are compostable, and they do go to the compost facility, and they biodegrade like everything else. So that will keep the moisture from the proteins combined and not ooze. And if we've been doing this a long time, if there's not a whole lot of food just placed in the yard waste itself, the yard waste will absorb a lot of the moisture. And if over a period of time you just simply cannot get the stink out, call us and we'll exchange your card.
Okay. Kevin, can I ask you some questions? Sure.
For this item?
When we went through this bidding process, we had 3 companies bid on this proposal.
That's
to
correct.
provide
Try not
service.
to break this thing here. Yes.
Was this price included at that time in those bids?
The price for the yard,
For the
the
additional
organics,
waste.
it was a minimum requirement in the RFP that
Right.
everybody responded to.
So this is not a new charge being hit. This is what all 3 bidders had to
Yes.
bid. It's not something that's just starting to happen
Yeah.
now. I think a comment was made earlier about prices going up and once the contract was
Yeah.
signed. This was part of that bidding process so we could meet the requirements of the state mandated 50% less waste going into the
That's correct.
landfill.
I think the feeling was, I mean, in my experience, is it's cheaper to put a spec out and then get bids on it than pick somebody who's now your sole provider and then to try to negotiate adding it in later. And so we put this service to a competitive process to try to get the very best number.
So the question going to the next, somebody else brought up, they don't want the container. Is that something they can opt out? Not saying that their price changes. Is that something they can opt out if they don't want to have that container? If there's no room at their home or apartment for it. How does that work?
Well, I don't know your exact municipal code. Typically in your code, you have a requirement that people set out garbage.
Right.
You don't have a code requirement that says you have to set out, in this case, the blue card or the green card. And so if someone either doesn't want to receive the card or doesn't want to put it out, they're not obligated to put it out.
Okay, so they could actually...
They could not put it out. They still would pay the charge, but they're not obligated to set it out.
So they could call the company, service company, say, look, we don't have any room for it. We don't
Yeah.
have any yard waste. Take it away.
That's correct.
So that is a possibility.
Yes, the price
But it
isn't
will
gonna
be the
change.
same price. It's
That's-
not going to be any cheaper.
That's
But
correct.
Just so we're clear. I want to
Yes.
make sure we're clear on this because I think for some people it is a price issue, but for others there's no room for it. So I just want to make sure we're being clear that this was part of the bid process from the very beginning. You could choose not to have the container, but the price will be the same.
That's correct.
The purpose, again, to make sure we're meeting the 50% requirement from the state, so we, as a community, don't get fined from the state.
That's correct. And to head off the next round.
And the next
of
round, to
this
get ahead of it.
AB 1383. I'd also say, Phil, these are 64-gallon options for the green.
There is a 64-gallon for the green, yes.
So you can, that's another option. 96 maybe, maybe too big for some folks, so you can downsize at least to the 64, which may help some people.
Okay. I think somebody pointed out, this is going back to you now, Phil. I think it was Ms. Hill again, pointed out the pictures were very helpful on how to use the cans.
Mm-hmm.
The information you brought up about the different types of bags you can use would be helpful also. Again,
Yeah.
I point out I'm having this problem in my house, and trying
Sure.
to answer this to my wife is not an easy task sometimes.
Sure. We've today put out a couple pieces of information. We are working on some additional recycling guides as we speak. And the residential guide, which is much more detailed and explicit with both graphics and detail, should be going out next week. We're just in the process of finishing it up, and it'll be mailed to all the residents and businesses.
Okay. All right. Vice Mayor Luna?
And I just want to thank you for bringing them in after we spoke today.
Certainly.
I think the visual effects sometimes makes people understand a lot better than, the usage. And I know that I saw the presentation at the Jóvenes de Antaño the other day, and I asked some of the seniors if they understood exactly the disposal of the items, and they were just glad that somebody took the presentation to them.
Yeah,
So,
and we are in
thank
the
you.
process of scheduling more of those presentations. As one of the requirements of this contract is that we have 4 dedicated people for the City of Hollister, City of San Juan Bautista, and San Benito County. So we're going to have bodies out there on the road, in the field, talking to the businesses and residents about this, with presentations just like you saw.
Councilmember Gillia.
Mr. Couchet, I wanted to thank you that you had folks out at the farmers market. I happened to be right next to them, and I heard a lot of the questions and a lot of the answers. They had this green can out there. I had a question for you. Do you have the ability to do any research about the smell issue? That's going to be a real issue in the future. I think it's going to get worse and worse, especially with meats and that sort of thing, organics. I don't know if there's. I don't know the answer to the question I'm asking, but I'm wondering if there's any ability for you guys to provide. You do your free bulk yard cleanup days. Maybe have something that somebody could come grab a bag of that they would put in their can. That would maybe help clean out the orders every 3 months or 6 months. I don't even know if that's an option. I'm just throwing it out there because I think that's going to become a pretty big concern for a lot of folks, especially when you're living in the tight quarters.
Yeah, we can sort of look at that. We have the same exact program in many other jurisdictions, and it isn't a significant problem. Not to say it doesn't exist occasionally, but it isn't a widespread problem.
Okay.
I think it'll be minimal.
Okay, if you can look into that, I'd appreciate
Certainly.
that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments from council? All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I need to defer to City Attorney Epperson, but I had one more speaker who wanted to speak. If that's...
Okay.
No objection.
So we'd have to reopen public hearing. Okay, this time we're going to reopen public hearing.
Barbara?
We had that demonstration earlier, right? We went through this freedom of speech in this room.
Thank you very much for hearing me. I live in town. I do not use the garbage service. You can buy crocks that looks like your old-fashioned crock that you put your kraut in that compost your stuff. I have a garden. I put all my compost into my garden. I recycle all my paper, glass, plastics, and metals, and I haul it myself. And I chop up my yard waste for the most part, and I maybe will go to the dump once a month. With which I pay $12 whether I'm taking a little or a lot. But if I had to pay the rates for these, I would soon lose my home because I'm on my retirement income. I am really glad that you have good things available to do it with, but I cannot comply. Thank you.
Thank you. This time there's no other speakers. Okay, we'll close public hearing. Brings the next question for me. Sorry to open this up again, but Kevin or Phil, there are those that say that they don't want to have garbage service. I know that's part of the requirement of living within a city.
Mm-hmm.
Is that state law, city law? How does this work?
I'd have to defer to the city.
We're clear on this.
Yeah, it is part of our ordinance that everybody there's mandatory trash pickup. Now, the city manager has the ability to waive trash service in very specific instances. And I think there's a small list in there. I do have the ability to do that, but there is only, like I said, it's very rare. I believe there's only probably 4 or 5 people in the entire city that kind of meets that threshold. So there is that ability.
There is an option. Yeah, and again, all I'm trying to do is make sure we're clear on all these different areas.
But like
here.
But essentially you have to have really good findings in order to opt out. Otherwise, everybody would just say, "I'm going to go to the dump."
And don't go.
And don't go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Not saying that, Barbara, you would do that. I'm not. I believe you.
Well,
Excuse me. Kevin just reminded me. And we do have a low-income program also. So we use the same program as PG&E does. So if you can show proof of your low income through PG&E, there is a reduced rate.
Okay. And there also is the option of having the smaller cans for the lower rate.
That is correct. Yeah, with the use, the proper use of the recycling in the organics, it's very likely you can reduce your gray garbage cart and reduce your cost.
Okay. Okay. Or- I'm sorry. Thank you. All right. Is there any other questions from council? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 2018-235.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We are going to move now to reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Clower?
I do not have any committee meetings over the last 2 weeks, but intergovernmental is this Thursday at 10, so anybody who's interested in checking that out, come on out. It's here at City Hall.
Councilmember Luna?
Yes, I attended the Area Agency on Aging at the Aptos Community Center, where a very good presentation was made by AARP. They recommended that, if possible, we could put this in one of our agendas so that they can come down and actually make the presentation directly to the Hollister City Council. So that's something that we should think about. It was very interesting. It was very much community involvement and supporting our seniors. I went and spoke with Pauline Valdivia, and she was very much enthused about actually having that presentation made to our city council. So in the future, let's think about that. Okay?
So, Councilmember Gillard?
Nothing to report on committee, sir.
I did attend a few different meetings. One very important meeting for all of us was the Mobility Partnership meeting, where we discussed working together with Santa Clara County on the 101-25 interchange. It is now planned to have a new interchange at that location opening by 2024. It's a $70 million project Santa Clara County is paying for from the tax dollars they're collecting from their sales tax. There's a few different options there right now. We're still going through it. They're still doing more studies. The overall master plan of that whole area, it's a $200 million project. But the first phase of it is a $70 million project, and they're anticipating 2024 for the opening. So it's really good news. It's great to have a partnership with them that we're working together and finally making a change and making a difference together. The other meeting I had was with the homeless groups, the regional groups throughout the Monterey Bay area. And we had a joint meeting in Salinas with all the cities and different homeless groups. And it was a proud moment. San Benito County was recognized as the model of how you handle this homeless crisis going on. Doesn't mean we have a perfect system here, but all the other communities were looking at what we were doing, and they're starting to model what they're trying to do based on what we've done here. And they were really impressed that over the last just really 4 years that we have done so much. And their question was, how did you guys make this all work between the county and the city and all the different groups involved? Very impressive. The mayor of Salinas was sitting next to me. He just couldn't take his eyes off the information that was provided that day. And it's great to know that all that work paid off. I heard a comment earlier that city and county don't work together. Well, I'll tell you, we do work together. We work very hard together. We might not agree on certain things now and then, but to be recognized as a model for what we're doing with the homeless in our community, that's great. It's something we should all be proud of, and we're still working on it. It's not something that people feel there's just an answer to. There's a lot of issues, mental issues, substance abuse, and on and on. But we do have a shelter that people are visiting us from around the Bay Area and Monterey Bay Area also, seeing what we're doing. So be proud, and let's keep that thing going. So thank you. We're going to move to informational reports. Councilmember Clower?
Yeah, I've got a couple things. The first, I just was really happy to see the cooperation and collaboration between
obviously our local area, but just our country as a whole, working with Mexico. Sometimes you hear things at the federal level that aren't so, they're not so great as what we've seen today. So it was really nice to see that and get a little bit more information on how we are cooperating with other people. The second thing, I'd like to have an item on a future agenda regarding a possible traffic study of Sally Street, specifically Sally and Park. That road it's pretty long for not having a stop sign on it. It's actually really wide too. It's probably one of the widest streets in the city. So traffic does go probably a little too fast on that street. So if that could be an agenda item that we could look at, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. And then the last thing is that there will be a ribbon cutting for the bypass road going around the high school on Friday morning at 10 o'clock for anybody who wants to check that out.
Okay. Vice Mayor Luna?
Yes, I see where Mary's standing on the side, but I'd like for her to comment on this. We're inviting the community to a neighborhood meeting at Calaveras School on Wednesday, October the 3rd, and I would like for Mary to elaborate on that. Thank you.
Yes, that the community meeting is in relation to the California Transportation Commission's Active Transportation Program Cycle 3. The city was recommended for about $1.1 million in funding for pedestrian and bicycle improvements. We have an issue with the width on Central Avenue. We propose to put a Class 2 bicycle lane there. That means that there's a stripe on the road, and there needs to be the lane should be at least 5 feet if there's on-street parking. There isn't enough room in Central Avenue to accommodate the on-street parking and the bike lane and the 2 travel lanes. A design alternative that we could submit an amendment to
Can
the
I interrupt you there because it's not agendized, and I think we're getting into specifics on this. And probably not proper.
Sure.
If we want to agendize this for a conversation, we can do that.
I can report on it under my report. Actually, just information on the meeting that I think is very important for the people, especially in the Central Avenue near Calaveras School. And I believe we already have passed out information in the area, and people are very receptive. So I would invite the neighborhood on Central Avenue to attend the meeting on October 3rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Calaveras School in the school library. So that would be part of my report. It's just within my district.
Thank you. Councilor Angilio?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's been a busy month for activities around the community, a couple of notable events. The last farmers market was last Wednesday, and I got to tell you the turnout in the downtown was pretty amazing. I actually saw you down there, and there was I was pretty shocked at the amount of folks down there. It was great to see everybody come out to support our local businesses and community. Today, Officer Burbank, brand new Hollister PD officer, was sworn in. I'm sure the chief will be talking about that. It was really a great event, moving event. And then just a promotion for upcoming event, the San Benito County Fair is October 4th, which is Thursday through Sunday. So come on out to the fair and support all the local folks and youth that are participating out there. Thank you for the time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Just wanted to thank whoever, I know they're finishing up the pipeline along Southside Road there. I saw the final patches going on today. Excellent job, the work they did out there. They did it quickly, and their patchwork, it's done well. So whoever was in... I'll tell you what, I was watching them, so I wouldn't be jinxed, but they did a great job. So thank whoever was responsible for that.
I will let San Isidro County Water District know.
Yeah, no, they did a great job out there. All right, let's move to, City Manager.
Most everybody covered the things that I had to report on. I would like, if it pleases the council, I would like to request that tonight's meeting be adjourned in memory of Dennis Lawler. For those that remember Dennis was the executive director for South County Housing for a number of years, and he was instrumental in making sure that a lot of the affordable housing developments that we partnered with South County as a redevelopment agency were done. So he's probably been responsible for 600 or 700 units within our community. So he passed away late August, kind of unexpectedly. I didn't know about it. I feel horrible about that, but if it pleases the council, I would certainly like to adjourn in his honor. He was here. He spent a lot of hours in this particular room. So
Yes.
Yes, there will be a memorial service for Dennis on Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Roma's Grange, in case anybody would like to come.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
As Councilman Gillio intimated, we did swear in another officer this morning, as we did last week as well. So we're trying to catch up. We're almost there. We've got about 3 more openings. But in this day and age, it's pretty difficult to recruit. So we're still making headway, though. That's it.
Good job. City Clerk?
I just wanted to let council know again that we'll be going, the IT manager and I will be going to the ECS training on the 18th to kind of start kickstarting the Laserfish upgrade to Avante, which I know I've been talking about for a while, but just another reminder to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move to item G3.
Good evening, council members. This is an update on the most recent Pinnacle Gateway Partner meeting. It was held September 21st at the Hardin Foundation Bunkhouse Conference Building in Salinas. I'd never heard of it. It's located in North Salinas on a 6-acre parcel surrounded pretty much by housing. I think there's a park on one side. There was an update from the superintendent, as usual at the meeting, but this time it was with the interim superintendent, Brent Johnson. Karen Butler-Dorn has transferred to the Hopewell Culture National Historic Park in southern Ohio. So he'll be very temporary, and then they'll have, they think, 2 interim superintendents, both from the Yosemite National Park system. Christine, there's one slide, if you could put it on. They announced that the park is finalizing its plans for the new entrance station on the east side, and as a part of that, Caltrans has transferred Highway 146 on the east side of the park to the park, and they'll probably be establishing their entrance about a half a mile in from Highway 25. They reported on some safety issues in their campground. Some of the Valley Oaks, there's limbs that are dropping. Fortunately, nobody's been injured, but so they're trying to address that, and as part of that, they've closed some of the campsites because they are a national park. They need to balance the resources with a lot of other things, so that I think they're exploring maybe some alternative locations for replacing the campsites. Overall, the attendance has been up throughout the year. They mentioned also that I think I've reported in the past that there's an issue with people trying to get a shuttle service because there's a big demand, especially in the spring. But they want the visitors to have a good experience, and so they're considering expanding trails also to accommodate the upsurge in attendance. So on to the general meeting, there was announcements around the room. One thing from the staff at the Welcome Center in Salinas is that tourism is down nationally, but it's up 5% in the state of California. The general presentation was from the executive director, Joe Gardner, of the Hardin Foundation. It was established in 1963 by Erica and Gene Hardin. They had no heirs. They were, I guess, one of the big 4 in agriculture in the Salinas Valley. So it now has $55 million in assets that provides grant assistance to nonprofits in Monterey County. What you see on the slide here, and which is at the foundation headquarters, it's called a Challenge Double Header Wind Engine, and it was used to grind grains. It was, what's unique about it is it's designed. You could see there's the 2 30-foot wind wheels, and they rotate in opposite directions, and so it was fun. They turned it on. It was fun to watch it move. Reminded me of a Ferris wheel. And Also, a lot of the people that went to the meeting didn't know that that facility was there. It's there for the community use. They have a nice conference room, and it's available for nonprofits, and there's historic features that they share with the schools, which touches on that through the partnership. I think we're discovering more and more about things we didn't know about each other's communities. Moving on, there's a possibility there may be a night hike this month on October 18th, just as a social hike on the east side or the west side, and there will be a strategic planning retreat in November. And I think when most people hear that, they think, oh, that's something I shouldn't come to. But anybody's welcome to come to the meetings, and I think we're structuring it so if people want to come for more the business side, the normal type of meeting in the morning, they're welcome. And then if they want to participate in goal setting in the afternoon, of course, they're welcome for that too. It'll be at Bellato Park from 8:45 to 4:45.
What was the date for that?
November 15th. Sorry.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Do we have any public comment?
We have no speakers, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we're going to move to item 4, G4.
Yes, this is a report regarding the City of Hollister's application for the California Transportation Commission.
Mary, sorry, 1 second. At the end of the department summary, it says that there is possible right-of-way acquisition from the property owner of the Kmart parking lot building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm related to the people who own that, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is a report regarding a grant that was submitted at the end of July for the California Transportation Commission Cycle 4 Active Transportation Funds. The grant title was Safe Routes to School on a Multi-Use Corridor. This bucket of funding is earmarked just for bicycle and pedestrian improvements. The City Council approved a resolution in June 2018, 151, authorizing staff to submit an application. There was 2 issues that came about near the time of grant submittal. As you recall, also there was no meeting in July, so we weren't able to report to the City Council on some of the costs. One of the issues is the cost of the local match for the city, and the second is some possible right-of-way challenges for the roundabout at Ladd Lane and Tres Pinos Road. If you recall, the grant submittal included a construction component, and that was to implement the complete street plan for Nash, Tres Pinos, and Sunny Slope Road. And then also there was a non-infrastructure component, and I could just explain that in a minute. As you recall, the improvements would be adding a roundabout at Tres Pinos and Ladd Lane, and also a roundabout at Rancho Drive. There would be a mid-block crossing between Foster Freeze and Taco Bell. That means a pedestrian could cross the street more protected. They could walk one half of to the middle and wait to cross to the other side. There would be a speed feedback sign on Nash Road between San Benito and Cushman, and bicycle lane improvements throughout the corridor. There would also be a road tie-it, meaning there would be a travel lane eliminated on Tres Pinos Road between Rancho Union Bank and Airline Highway. The same would happen also on Sunny Slope Road, starting from Black Forest Drive to Valley View Road. There would also be some infill of sidewalk gaps near Sunny Slope School, just east of El Toro Drive on both sides of the road. The total project is $4.4 million. If we were successful with the grant, we would be receiving $2 million. The city's match would be $2,366,000. Some of that funds would be for $700,000 would be traffic impact fees, and then there's been some expenditures already. So the out-of-pocket general expense to the city would be $1.515 million for the construction component. There's a table. Let's see. Oh, Christine, could you pull up the power? There's a table in the staff report. Sorry, I should have had that pulled up. You don't have it?
All I got for you was G3.
Oh.
No, G4.
Okay. It's G4?
G4.
Oh, wait, here you go.
There, that's what we wanted to see.
Would you like the...
That's it, perfect, just right there.
This so that you can change it?
Oh, I think I just wanted to point out that the city does have a substantial match of about $1.51 million. If we were to go to construction with these improvements, you can see that there's right-of-way final design costs. Those are close to $1 million. And if we are successful with the grant, then we would be receiving, we'd be paying for 48%, not 100% of those costs. So, but that is a big commitment. I spoke with Mary Gilbert today, and she explained she couldn't be here tonight, but she said that if the sales tax measure is successful in the November, then some of that funding could be used to help with the city's match for the grant. The second issue, though, is right-of-way, and that is for the roundabout at
Lad Lane.
Lad Lane, that's correct. In your packet is a letter from some of the business owners, property owners on the commercial center that's on the north side of the intersection where there's Round Table Pizza and Grocery Outlet. They do not want to lose parking spaces, and they're also, Christine, I can't get this to work.
Is it turned on, Mary?
Oh, no, that helps. There, here we are. It is sideways. So as you look at the screen if you're facing my direction on the left, whoops, oh, there we are. It's there would be potential for them to lose a couple parking spaces, and they believe that parking is already pretty crowded in their center, and they're also very frustrated with the amount of cut-through traffic that they're experiencing. We contacted the owners of the property where the Kmart building is because the consulting traffic engineer thought it would be feasible to slide the roundabout to the southwest. And we have had preliminary conversations with them. We also, if you look at you can see on this slide here, you can see that there's the outline from GIS of the property line. It looks like there may be more right-of-way than there appears to be. So we're trying to get some clear information on that. On a preliminary basis, it looks like it's just a little bit behind the sidewalk, what the city owns. The property owners have been a little cautious about negotiating right away on a very casual conversation level in the event they wanted to do further infill on their property. So to see what we're looking for now, they'll soon be scoring the application, so we're looking for direction from the city council on whether or not to leave the grant as it is and pursue negotiation right away or to withdraw the grant. I would like to just touch on one thing. I know it's been kind of long tonight. One component of the grant was the non-infrastructure. When we went to training, they encouraged jurisdictions to try and include a non-infrastructure component. This would include, we met with the schools and with public health and COG staff to work on the non-infrastructure component. And that's where you're encouraging people to change their behavior, educating them, or doing enforcement. Especially, that's 3 of the E's for safe routes to schools. One of the things I learned working on the grant is there's over 500 students on that corridor. I think it's within an hour at the intersection of San Benito and Nash, there was, I think, 250 students were walking or biking through that intersection. And in conversations with Sean Tenenbaugh, he said that maybe what we need to do is reculture this corridor. I don't think people realize that it should be the safe route to school. It's the primary conduit for the high school, for Rancho San Justo Middle School, Sunny Slope Elementary, and it's on the route for Lad Lane. So what we propose to do is some bicycle rodeos, also to do, and that's to, especially around the time when the roundabouts would be constructed, to educate youth on how to use that safely. Some what they call walking school buses, where children walk together in a group like a bus, so that helps alleviate congestion. And then another was education and enforcement, and part of that was partnering with the high school, having the public resource officer in the classrooms talking about behavior, because one of the things that was heard when we did updated public outreach is that there's some behavioral issues all the way around with the way the motorists behave, and then also where some of the students, they don't yield right away. There's concerns about that. So that as part of that, we're proposing to work with the schools and have them, some of the students, create banners that could be put on the corridor, not board, with art showing safe or encouraging safer behavior and more respectful behavior. So if it's the pleasure of the council not to withdraw the grant, we'd like direction to still try to pursue some of these things, which are much more modest.
Councilor Aguilio.
Mary, thank you for the thorough presentation. I really appreciate that. Can you, I have a couple of comments. My first one is, can you update us on, you and I went out, I can't even remember the date, they're all kind of blending together at this point. We went out and tried to negotiate with a couple of the property owners and talk with them about the area between El Toro, Clearview on Sunny Slope. That's where I'm really concerned, frankly, this roundabout. You know, I could see that either way, but that area is bad. We have sidewalk gaps. We have kids walking in the mud. They jump onto the street there to, try to get to school. How did that come along, and are we moving forward with any of the negotiations with those property owners?
With 3 of, we just concentrated on 3 because and this is something we could work on, but we concentrated on 3 because that's where the 3 lots closest to El Toro Drive are in the city limits. The road is in the city limits. As you go east, then half of the road is in the county. And we did meet with Supervisor Medina, and but there wasn't enough time with the grant. That's the bottom line. So that's something we could still pursue, trying to clean that up.
Yeah.
But all 3 of those, one property is for sale, but all 3 of them have agreed to negotiate with the city for the purchase of the right-of-way, and then also to put in a sidewalk.
Good.
Because there's no sidewalk there today.
That part of this project, I think, is critical. We need to really focus on that and get that done. And the only other point I wanted to make out is I also spoke with Mary Gilbert today, and the council may want to consider continuing this to a date to be specific of November 19th and see what happens with Measure G, because this is one of those great examples of using existing funds that may come through Measure G to multiply and double your money, basically. So that's what we're looking to do when we're talking about Measure G at COG. Make sure we get matching funds through the state, SB1 funds, all these different things. So you may want to consider doing that. I don't know if we can consider that as a council after we hear comments from the public, but that part of Sunny Slope Road up on top of the hill there, we really got to work on that for the kids. Thank you.
Councilmember or Vice Mayor Luna?
So, Mary, the total amount of the grant, what would that be?
4.4 million for the total project.
Okay. And you are speaking about the City of Hollister match for out of the general fund?
Of 1,515,000, yes.
And you're talking about traffic impact fee, 700,000?
Correct.
That would be part of it?
That would be part of it. That's the intersection of Rancho Drive and Tres Pinos Road. That's a intersection that's listed specifically in the impact fees.
What are the prior expenses of 151,000?
Some of that was we received a grant for the Complete Streets Plan, and then there was some funding also for grant assistance.
And I also see the total project cost of non-infrastructure programming costs of 18,000. What is that?
And that's where I explained there would be the walking school buses, the bike rodeos, the enforcement, and the banners.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mary, what is the timeline to get that application in or to continue for this grant?
There'll be recommendations to the California Transportation Commission in December, and so then once it's funded, we'd probably spend a year doing the final design and right-of-way acquisition, and then there would be construction.
So your paperwork has to be in by when?
It was submitted in July.
It was submitted in July.
So
we're just continuing this conversation.
So the question is, do we withdraw the grant that we submitted, or do we keep it? We don't want to annoy the California Transportation Commission by saying, oh, we got a grant award, but we can't afford to pay for it.
Well, I think, as Councilman Gilio pointed out, it's very dependent on Measure G funds to do some of the major improvements we want to do in the community. If the funding's not there, it's going to make it difficult because we still have other roads we need to repair. So I think that's a lot of it is based on that. We had a conversation before as the alternative of the left turn lanes, left turn light at that intersection. Have we looked more into that as another option? Because of the traffic backup there that's happening?
At Ladd Lane?
At Ladd Lane, yes.
We focused more at, I guess, what we were trying to do, we didn't. We looked at the roundabout. We had to consult with Caltrans to see if they would not object to that, and then we thought we would explore the left turn lane.
Okay. So that is still an option that we can be looking into it?
If we didn't
go with this project?
Right.
Okay. And how long would that take to put into action? A left turn light? It's very confusing at that intersection. It's quite a mess. Preferably we'd want this roundabout. We've been talking about this for several years. But if that does not happen in
what we
November,
could do, we could go to, we have our consulting engineering firms, and they have traffic engineering capacity. So we could report back to you what that cost might be and a timeline to explore that as an option.
Okay. I think as Councilman Gilio pointed out, it's probably the election is really going to decide a lot of these projects, and then if it does not happen, we can move towards the left turn and some of the smaller projects that we can and we need to accomplish. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Marty Richmond.
Sorry to keep you so late. Marty Richmond from Hollister. I have no phobia against roundabouts, okay? At the appropriate place, they're fine. I think the idea of putting a roundabout at Ladd Lane and Tres Pinos Road is crazy because roundabouts are not good structures where there's heavy pedestrian traffic. All you have to do is read about them. Like I said, I'm not against them because I've driven them for years in Europe. I lived in Europe as an adult for 15 years. but they're not good structures where there's heavy pedestrian traffic, because it's yield to pedestrians on the roundabout if it's properly done. And that means essentially you got a bunch of high school students, God bless them, they're young and they're social, and they string out for 2 miles when they're coming out of the high school, and they'll be crossing that street one right after the other for 20 seconds at a time, and that traffic's going to be all piled up. You're also going to pay an extraordinarily high cost to get extra land access that really you don't need. I do think we need a lot of things about crossing the street there. I think we need the island in the middle. I think we need a lot of other stuff, and we need a lot of left turn lights, protected left turns and rights, and we got these special lights now. You see them down in Marina, which warn you that people are crossing from the right when you're taking a right turn, if you've ever seen those. So you don't run over somebody on the green while you're trying to maneuver on the red. These are all great stuff, and all the stuff in the ground and the flashing lights are all great stuff. And roundabouts are great at the right place. But Ladd Lane and Chesapeake Road is not the right place, because the amount of money you're going to pay for that and the amount of money you're going to pay for the extra land for no benefit, actually I think it's going to hurt us because of the problem with pedestrians and roundabouts. They don't go together very well, high pedestrian. And I think if you do some research, you're going to find out that, and if you talk to your traffic people, you're going to find out that. I think the idea of putting, at our expense, the idea of putting sidewalks in, even if it's in the county, is terrific. I think we need to do it, because this business of forcing our people to walk out in the road because the county refuses to fix their area, it's still our people. It may be their money, but it's our people, and they get hit with a truck. It's going to be our problem. So I think all along these areas where you have a chance to fill in the gaps and make sure people are not driven out into the roadway because they're walking in the mud, I think that's great, and I think we ought to do it. So all in all, I wouldn't spend that kind of money on roundabouts. It doesn't make any sense to me. We need a traffic evaluation of the entire city, and we need one badly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
So from us tonight, you need whether to continue forward or wait till the November and have another discussion.
Yeah, the CTC there won't be a recommendation till December, so we would have a clear idea where we are financially in November.
Can I recommend we bring it back November 19th, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely. And as Mr. Richmond pointed out, the studies have been done about this roundabout, the crosswalks, and the pedestrian traffic. So we know that they're not recommending something that's dangerous or not going to work. I mean, this is a very important part of the conversation we had because of all the high school students, as he mentioned, 2 miles long, and they just seem to think that they can cross whenever they feel like it.
Well, that's why we had that was part of that because part of it's to try to change behavior.
Right,
Yeah.
but just so we're all clear and up to date on that information too, I think that'd be important to bring back and have those questions answered. Okay, so I agree with Councilor McGilio to bring this back in third week of November.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Hollister Downtown Association. Item G5.
Does somebody want, Kristen, you want to get Carson? Okay.
Oh. Thought he took off.
Did you guys forget he was there?
We definitely need to put a cot back there. Okay, Downtown Association, G5. Are you guys coming to Downtown Association? Or they fall asleep too?
Did they Rochambeau or something?
Do you have any questions? Okay. So, wasn't sure I was supposed to talk, but we're just turning in the annual report for 2017. I believe that Gina had already provided that to our council members earlier today. It just talks about all the activities that were completed in 2017 and the activities that we're moving forward with in 2018. The last event that we have for this year is the Lights On Parade. So that's coming up in the day after the November. There you go. Thank you, Gina. So.
Any questions from?
I just comment. Thank you. There's a lot of great events in the downtown, and I really appreciate your efforts to attract tourism and special events. And I hope we can all work together on this sign ordinance to, with your members as well as the council and the community at large to come up with a better, more accurate and needed sign ordinance.
Yeah, and we are looking forward. I know there was a couple of meetings already, and there's another meeting coming up. But we are looking forward to trying to get together with the people from downtown to come up with solutions to see what would work, so that we can come up with a good solution for everybody involved. So,
Thank you. Any other questions? Any speaker cards?
I have no speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. HIJK, there's no business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn in memory of Dennis Lalore.
Okay. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.
Thank you for that.